Streaming's up. Boom, there we are. All right. We're here. Oh, it's delayed. Tripping. There we go. That's the only thing about having to do this by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
All right. 3, 2, 1. All right. Hello, my name is Romello Styles. I'm here with
Grayson McKinney.
and we're here to welcome you guys to the ODU versus Western Kentucky pregame show. Kickoff is at 6 o'clock. So, Grayson, let's talk a little bit about the game. So, just give me a couple of your points coming from last week going into this week.
I think ODU's biggest struggle right now is definitely on the defensive side of the ball. They're giving up a lot of yards, rushing yards, which I think matches them up well against Western Kentucky because the primary source of their offense is through the air. But I think if they want to start winning some of these football games, they're going to have to pick it up on defense.
I'm not sure. For me, I'm not going to put a lot of the blame on the defense. I think they're on the field a lot because of the lack of production on the offensive side. I just think they're tired.
Yeah.
And I think because they got a few guys back last week, but the offense is not moving the ball. Let me see. I believe they're only scoring, what, 9? They're up to 17
points a game, yeah.
I mean, you can't really produce with that kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't really produce with that kind of, you can't put too much on your defense, and your offense is only producing 19 points.
Especially
17 points a game.
a lot of 3-and-outs, a lot of really quick offensive drives. So they're not giving the defense breaks at all in between when they're on the field.
Which is weird because, so, it seems like with the quarterback, Stephen Williams coming in, a lot is on the running game. And they got Ray back last week. And it seems like they have a productive running game, but I think it's just that teams know that. And they're saying, if we stop the run, that let's see if this 17-year-old freshman can beat us.
Mm-hmm.
And he hasn't so far. And the passing offense is struggling. And you can't. I think what they're trying, they say that they like to run to set up the pass, which, yeah, it works, but you still have to have a productive passing game.
Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, without, like you said, they run to set up the pass, but I have been impressed with Williams. He's a true freshman, and he's shown a lot of poise in the pocket. He's able to outrun defense. I mean, I saw him against Virginia Tech, and those DBs are not slow, and he was able to outrun them, and I'd see how he kind of responds. Freshman, he's 0-3 as a starter, so just going to see how he can respond coming in as we get deeper into conference play.
I think there's a big thing for the receivers. I think the receivers really haven't played up to what they need to help a true freshman like that out. I mean, he threw no interception in the Virginia Tech game, which is good. We know he's athletic. So, I mean, we know he can outrun almost everybody on the field. But, I mean, he's not – I don't even think he's not passing for that much. I mean, he has what? It's 3 starts. He's 47 for 112, 503 yards, 4 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Mm-hmm. Now, are all those interceptions his fault? No. A lot of them are the receiver's fault. And a lot of them, he's trying to do too much as well, which I understand. And yet, you're right, he is poised. I think he's playing well to be a true freshman, but where this team is trying to go, I think he needs to play better.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think he's also missing something from the receiving end. We don't have that kind of number one guy anymore when Duhart went down. So there's also that.
Duhart going down. So, I mean, they expected Travis Fulgham to step up. There's this big thing that, like, Melvin Vaughn is back. I guess, they say he dropped, like, almost 100 pounds, something in that area. He's fit. They're supposed to say he's ready to go. So, I mean, he had 2 touchdowns in the FAU game, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure what he had in the Marshall game, but their leading receiver is Fulgham with 15 receptions, 242 yards, and 1 touchdown. Your leading receiver cannot only have 1 touchdown.
Exactly.
I mean, and I don't know what to say because, I mean, I really like their running game. But you're just going against teams that are playing 8 in the box. I mean, you're not going to run over everybody.
Mm-hmm. And I think when Way went down, Jeremy Cox did a good job kind of pulling his weight and carrying the slack. He's played really well. But when you have those lack of receivers, you can't really set up anything offensively if you don't have a set number one guy you know you can go to. If it's 3rd down and 8, you want to have a big receiver, a big tight end, someone you know you can go to get that first down. And that's kind of what we've been missing.
And I'm not sure exactly what the play calling is, but I know when Williams came in for the UNC game at like the second quarter, I really feel like they allowed him to try to stretch the field. I feel like they kind of regressed on that a little bit in the play calling. I'm not a fan of all these wide receiver screens.
Yeah.
I feel like if everybody's already playing up, I don't see the effectiveness of a wide receiver screen.
Yes. I mean, that's the biggest thing I noticed. The first game against Albany, a lot of screens or just passes out in the flat. They weren't really trying to stretch the field at all.
Well, I'm not sure. Didn't get that from Bobby, but I don't think he really believed in Blake or Jordan as that type of quarterback stretch the field. Mm-hmm. But we see Williams, he has the arm. He is inaccurate at times, but I mean, 17.
Yeah. I mean, he came in UNC and had, a 76-yard touchdown pass as his first touchdown pass. He threw for like 176 yards in the second half alone. He has the arm, and like you said, he is 17. So I think that just if they can get someone to step up offensively, especially catching the ball, that'll greatly impact the run game and just the entire offense.
Because I think it's one of those things, especially like when you have a young quarterback like this, that you know he's going to be inconsistent at this age with not that much experience. So when he makes the throws, the receivers have to catch the ball because you don't know how many times he's going to be that accurate in a game. So it's every opportunity I take advantage of. I don't believe they've taken advantage of the opportunities that they've been given.
Yeah, and confidence. If Williams sees, like, if he can make these throws, that'll only, I think, make him more confident and can make him grow as a player. Because I've seen plenty of throws that are extremely catchable that have been dropped. And what does that really kind of show your quarterback, especially a young quarterback? Definitely.
And I love the defense, but I feel like if there is a weakness in this defense, it is the secondary. I'm a huge fan of Addison. I believe he's their best player in the secondary. I believe he can play half the field. I'm not a fan of Brickhouse that plays opposite of him. I'm not a fan of the safety Williams. I believe, but usually they play on opposite sides, which you would think helps. But, I mean, every game I've seen so far, they are going after Brickhouse. I mean, even North Carolina game, FAU, they're finding Addison and they're throwing away from him.
Which, against a Western Kentucky team who is a pass-heavy offense, I mean, averaging almost 300 yards a game, coming off a 500-yard passing game against Charlotte, that is probably going to show.
So what do you think? So since this is not, it seems like ODU's defense has been beaten by running the last few games. I mean, I know FAU. I'm not sure if they got beat on the ground like that against Tech. Was that?
I mean, Tech put up over 200 yards rushing.
So did FAU.
UNC put up over 200. Marshall put up 195.
And those are, I mean, I think those were better rushing teams than Western Kentucky. So I would assume that this would actually be a better game for ODU's defense, that they can kind of concentrate more on pass defense, knowing that this is not a run-heavy team.
Yeah, I mean, they're averaging Western Kentucky averaging less than 100 rushing yards a game. So, like I said, the majority of the offense is coming off of the pass, so I think that does match up better for ODU's defense. But it's just if the secondary can't play, they're going to find someone to knock the top off the defense.
And a lot is not really asked of ODU's secondary. To be completely honest, they only have to hold them. This defensive line, they lead the conference in sacks. Still up to this week, they lead the conference. This is not with O'Shane, with Botimi, with Fox, with all those guys. I mean, they are at depth. They have a rotation that's probably the best in the conference at defensive line.
They're getting after the quarterback.
So, I mean, if the secondary holds these receivers for at least 3 seconds, you have to believe somebody's going to be in the quarterback's face.
Yeah, I mean, and pressure is the best thing a defense can do to a quarterback. it causes for missed throws. If you can tip a couple balls, just making the quarterback feel rushing his throws will help the secondary. And the front seven, they're doing their job.
And I think ODU is covered too heavy in that defense. Because I think FAU, I'm not mistaken, when they play FAU, what was happening was they went to the cover 2, and FAU was running the ball so well that they tried to switch to the cover 3 to bring a safety down the box. And then the safety just would never cover the tight end. And that's how they converted like 2 third and long plays. So I'm assuming that they're going to go back to that cover 2 look.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure even how big these guys are. Western Kentucky, I mean, their leading receiver, 23 catches, 309 yards, 1 touchdown. So it looks like they spread the ball out. Mm-hmm. It looks like it's not like really one guy for them. So I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of. I don't know if that cover 2 is going to work in the offense like that.
Yeah.
If they're a team that spreads the ball around a lot, you can. I mean, a cover 2 is going to stop your go routes, your flats. But I mean, if you're talking about an offense like to throw the ball around, there's going to be a lot of crossing routes, a lot of tight end, 5 and ends, a lot of stuff like that. That they're gonna have to come out of that cover 2.
And if your offense can't keep the defense off the field, I mean, they're losing the time of possession battle, and in and out all these games. And your defense can only do so much if they're on the field for so long. They do look tired.
They're definitely tired. I mean, and these guys are banged up. I mean, they had the bye, but Addison banged up his ankle a little bit in the FAU game. He did go 100% in the Marshall game, but you could tell he wasn't 100%. I mean, there was plays that he usually makes that, you know, he's probably just getting that step that he's not 100%. So I mean, another week you would hope that he's healthier. I mean, that's big. I mean, I'm a fan of the linebacking core too. I mean, with Branch leading that group, I like it, but I'm not sure how it's gonna work today.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just, can the offense keep the ball in the field? Can they convert those third downs? Can they stop getting 3 and outs? And just, we're seeing a little offensive production, and a lot of these drives, they just kind of go stagnant, and they just need to keep the defense on the sideline for a little bit of time.
So would you have a prediction for today's game?
I mean, Western Kentucky is coming off a big win against Charlotte. They threw the ball exceptionally well, and ODU are coming off 4 losses. 2 good teams, but they're still coming off 4 losses. So, I mean, I think if Western Kentucky just continues their offensive dominance, especially through the air, I see them winning this football game more than I see ODU winning this football game. But they do match up defensively better, I think, than they have in the past 4 games.
I mean, ODU's on a 4-game skid. As of right now, it doesn't look like they'll win the conference, losing 2 games already. But if they have any hope, they're home.
And Ray's back. He has another week, just kind of get back in. So how can they establish offensively? I want to see them come out and score a first couple drives, especially if they can score in their first drive, just come out. Because offensively, they're really inconsistent. I mean, they put up, 23 points against UNC, shut out by Virginia Tech. Put up 28 against FAU, only scored 3 against Marshall. So can they find consistency in the offense and score early?
Special teams as well play a big game. I don't know if you heard, but the punter, Kate, was destroyed on Twitter over the past 2 weeks. I mean, he hasn't been playing that well. I mean, in field position is huge. When your offense is not doing well, the punter has to flip the field for them.
Mm-hmm. And he's on the field a lot, too.
I mean, yeah, if they're going that many 3 and outs, the punter has to flip the field for them. And it's hard for the defense if you're already starting at your own 40-yard line. I mean, it's hard. You're backed up. And a lot of times that defense is backed up and they don't have a lot of field. You know, it's not like they have a long drive. They don't have a lot to do, you know, a lot to work with.
Mm-hmm.
And not even punting. I mean, returning as well. Harper had the one big return in UNC, and he hasn't had another one since. I mean, those guys have to step up. They have to flip the field. they have to try to, especially for a freshman quarterback, you have to cut the field, like make the drive shorter. And the only way to do that is your special teams.
I think in any good play on special team, whether it's on defensive side or offensive side, just kind of puts new life into the entire team. See, if you get a big return, you get them good field position. That puts the offense in good position mentally and on the field. But if you aren't flipping the field, like you said, on the punting, or you not getting good returns, you're already putting yourself in a hole on an offense who has been struggling lately.
And I did talk to Booney Rotimi this week, and a big thing that he was saying was that they have to keep each other motivated. 'Cause, I mean, 4-game losing streak, you already lost 2 in conference games, and one of the big things coming into the season was winning the conference. That could really drag you down, you know, as a team. That could really, like, guys, like, we might not only not win the conference, we might not be at a bowl game this year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those things go through your head, of course. So you have to try to keep each other up, and every little thing matters. Anything that could spark the team, you know, it has to happen. In a game, you're home. You know, it's on a Friday night, so a lot of more people will be able to show up. Everything, the cards are in place for ODU. They just have to come out and play.
Exactly. I mean, you talked about special team last week against Marshall. 2 punt returns for 10 yards. Kick returns, they had 3 kick returns for 47 yards. And like I said, if they can get some of those yards on special team and not put so much burden on the offense, and if the offense can stay on the field, not put so much burden on the defense, kind of all goes in sync with what needs to happen to put together a winning football game.
I mean, 17 points a game, and what? And Western Kentucky's at
25, I think.
I mean, that's a touchdown either way. You know, like it's not a big point differential. That's one more touchdown for ODU or one more less touchdown for Western Kentucky. So I mean, if ODU wants any hope for the rest of the season, they have to win this game. They can't go on a 5-game losing streak. Mm-hmm. They have to win this game.
Yeah, and I want to see the defense force some turnovers. I mean, because that's an area. I mean, Stephen Williams, like I said, he has the interceptions. Not all of them may be his fault, but if the defense can force a turnover, I think that kind of revamps the offense, especially if it can get them in good field position.
So do you want a big game out of Stephen Williams? Do you want one of those at least 2 touchdowns, maybe 200 yards at least passing?
Yeah, I would love to see that because I think that only puts more confidence in him. It puts more confidence in the offense. I think if Williams can come out and have a big game, either through the air, on the ground, I think that just kind of totally puts new energy into this offense because I've seen a lot of drives they just haven't had the energy. They've been pretty stagnant. So if Williams can come out, have a big game, or if they can have a big game on the ground, if Cox and Lowry come out, have big games, wherever I think they see their strengths early, they should keep attacking that.
And I did see one thing that worked for them, which I wouldn't be big on doing the whole game, was the read option. I mean, you could do a lot of things out of that as well. He doesn't have to run the ball every time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, either the back doesn't have to run the ball anytime. You can fake it and throw it. And I would like to see that just to keep Western Kentucky on their heels. So, I mean, you have, I mean, ODU is about 4 running backs deep of running backs that could go anywhere in the country and probably start.
Mm-hmm. And if you can establish your run game early, that opens up the play action, the read option, just to keep the defense kind of guessing.
And you're guessing on the read option. I mean, Williams is athletic, so now you're like, well, you're with Williams. Are they going to run it? Well, now you also, this kid has an arm. He can throw this ball anywhere on the field.
Mm-hmm. And I would like to see them drop some just QB runs, just direct snap runs, because Williams is athletic. He can run the ball. He can get out of the backfield, I think.
I don't know if I want to put a 17-year-old on that line like that and keep getting hit, though.
I mean,
that's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah, but especially if you use it in the red zone.
Yeah, because he's not small, but he's not an overly big kid.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want him taking a lot of hits.
Yeah,
especially because he is a freshman. I mean, yes, he has many more seasons ahead of him, but I mean, I don't know if I want to. Just thinking future-wise, I don't know if I want to let him taking a lot of hits this season.
Yeah, I mean, if he can keep protecting the pocket, because he can get out of the pocket and throw on the run. I've seen him make some big throws on the run off the back foot. So, I mean, I think I would love to see a big game out of Williams today.
Uh-huh. And so I just feel like ODU just doesn't show up sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just one of those teams that if you come in, you sleep on them. I mean, if Western Kentucky comes in here like, oh, they're on a 4-game skid and taking it lightly, ODU can win the game. But I feel like ODU shouldn't be like that. I feel like if you look at what they have on paper, I can at least name 4 to 5 guys that are good enough to at least make a run for the NFL.
Yeah. I mean, especially in conference play. If they lose a third conference game, that's huge.
Yeah. Because, I mean, their record right now is
the 2-4 overall, 0-2 in conference.
They only lost 3 games last year. So they're already behind the curve. Even not even talking about conference play, even talking about making it back to a bowl game.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was expectation coming off the first bowl win with keeping guys. I mean, coming into the season, we still kept Ray Lowry. We had Duhart. Now, I mean, Duhart's went down, Ray went down, and he's back. But I think there were expectations coming into the year that haven't been met by ODU.
And I mean, just talking to a few guys, they believe that they've had a lack of focus. But I'm not even sure because I mean, is the quarterback position really playing that big of a part of why this is not the same team from last year?
I mean, I think it's coming. I think receivers last year were more impressive.
Pascal was here.
Pascal was huge.
Yeah. But I've always been a fan of Fulham. And I've always been I don't think they're bad. I'm not seeing a lot of separation out there from them and the DBs. And I don't believe they played that good of DBs. I don't think they played a DB better than Addison, to be honest with you, of any of the teams they played. Well, I take that back. Revis or Marshall is a legit corner. He will be in the NFL eventually. I do like Revis. He caught that. It was like I don't know if it was a tip, but it was a low like scoop interception he had last week against ODU. So I mean, outside of that, I mean I can't name. I mean, of course Virginia Tech, aka DBU, but I mean, UNC's been getting smoked by every team they played so far outside of ODU. They haven't played really that good of teams.
They haven't. But like at the quarterback position, I mean Washington last year, coming into we started with Blake and now we have Stephen Williams, who is the 17-year-old freshman. So I mean I think giving time, if you can stick with one guy and give him time, he will be able to grow into the offense. But I mean Washington was a big part of the offense last year.
I mean I believe Williams has some of those same attributes that Washington had. I mean, granted, he's way younger. Of course, a lot of stuff that Washington gained over the years, Williams doesn't have yet. But I believe he has the mechanics. He can run. He has a big arm. Some of the same things Washington had. And I believe they just I don't know how much they're giving to him at one time. I hope they're not overfeeding him the playbook. Because, I mean, they haven't faced. I mean, outside Tech, Marshall was a decent defense. They haven't faced a number, a high-ranked defense yet. I believe that Williams can't expose. I believe it's just play calling at the wrong time. Like I said, I'm not a fan of wide receiver screens. If the other team is bringing 8 men in the box, they have to pass, and the receivers have to catch the ball.
And going back to Tech, I mean, I think defensively ODU played really well against Tech, especially in that first half. Just offensively, they could never get anything going.
They can't have another week of that.
They need to get the offense going.
They have to come out the gate hot. I mean, I think I'm not gonna tell you, but I think I already know what their first play is. But I'm hoping if it was me, I'm coming out the gate throwing the ball deep. I'm a fan of that, especially when you've had multiple weeks of just starting off slow. I mean, if you come out the gate just trying to throw the ball deep, hoping you can get a pass interference or even get the big play, just something, you want to get the crowd into it early. You want to get the players and teammates into it early, everybody into it early. And if you start off early, because one thing about ODU, I did notice, if you get on top of them early, they're not coming back.
Mm-hmm. And looking ahead in the season, they still have North Texas, who is 3-0 and COSA West 4-2. They still have I mean, they have Charlotte, which could be a good game. But they still have FIU, 2-1 in the conference, 4-2 overall. So they still have big games ahead of them. So if they could start with a win here, kind of get them rolling, go to North Texas next week, hopefully an easy one against Charlotte. But I mean, I don't see them losing 5-0 and trying to bounce back.
Yeah, because for them, you really want to knock off the rest of these top guys. Since especially you lost to Marshall already, which Marshall looking like they'll probably be one of the favorites to come out of Conference USA. So for ODU, I believe you have to knock off some of these top guys these weeks out. So come the end of the season, hopefully Marshall will probably lose a few games and will just put ODU maybe in a position to take the conference. You never know.
But you just can't keep losing these conference games. They're huge.
And to be honest, before the season started, I thought they would run the table in the conference. I expected more from the quarterback position. But like I said, I definitely called them to lose against UNC. I definitely called them to lose against Tech. But I definitely didn't expect them to lose to FAU. And the team I saw them
especially that big.
Yeah.
They lost big to FAU.
And I don't know who I was watching out there when I against FAU. That wasn't the team that I thought they were at all. But I mean, you that big of a discrepancy play wise, you can't really, I think how many plays did FAU run?
I mean, I know they had 69 rushing attempts alone.
You can't do that. You have to get.
They had 2 guys over 100 yards rushing.
I think 3. I think the quarterback had like 97.
Yeah.
It was real close. I know the starting running back had like over 200, and then the second string running back had 100, and I think the quarterback was at like 97 if I'm not mistaken. You can't have that, and I mean, and a loss like that, it overshadows that Jeremy Cox had such a great game.
Exactly.
That's insane. So, man, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a score. And
do you think it's going to be a big game offensively or defensively?
I'm really in love with ODU's defense outside of Brickhouse and Williams.
Because I do, like you said, they're getting pressure to the quarterback. That front, they're dominating the line of scrimmage.
Man. And for me, it's so hard to go against ODU's defense. But I know if they're on the field as much as they have been, there's really nothing they can do.
Because Western Kentucky, they only allow 18 points a game.
ODU's going to have to score on defense. They're going to have to.
At least get a big turnover in the red zone. Just something big to kind of give the offense good field position. Or special teams. The special teams can get a big play.
Man. All my other weeks has been easy to pick against ODU. But for some reason, my mind is telling me that ODU's going to... I'm going to have to go on a limb. I'm going to take ODU 21-19.
Because these are 2 teams who don't score the ball big. Like I said, point differential, that's...
But if ODU comes out the gate slow and West Kentucky comes out, guns blazing, this game could get ugly really, really fast. But I'm going to stick to my guns, and I'm going to say ODU 21, West Kentucky 19.
Yeah, I definitely want to see ODU come out of the gate, aggressive, hard, take shots downfield, and get a quick score.
Most definitely. So, our pregame show is not going to be as long as it usually is this week because we have another sports show coming on in about 10 minutes. Me and Grayson will be in live broadcasting the game at kickoff at 6 o'clock. We'd like to thank everybody for joining. My name's Romello Styles.
I'm Grayson McKinney.
And if you don't remember anything else, stay mellow.